Good afternoon, gladiators. We who are about to play salute you. Alright, it's spring. In Australia anyway. For those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, it's fall or autumn as we call it here. So spring down here means less time in front of the computer, more sunshine, and, you know, probably less games Gladiator. But I'm still going to hopefully do as many as I can. It's been a beautiful spring day today, and I've managed to sneak in a little bit of time this afternoon to make a quick games Gladiator video on a game that I have already covered, but I wouldn't mind showing you a little bit more of. And it is, of course, one of my own games, Swords and Sandals 5 Redux. So let's jump into it and I'll tell you all about it. So, of course, I did a Ollie Plays, well, back when it was called Ollie Plays, on this a few months ago, I think. One of the earlier ones. I did the whole Swords and Sandals series. And I'm not sure if I covered this part of it, but what I wanted to show you today is two different modes. One is the Gladiator Sprint, and the other is the Dungeon Crawl, because they are often hidden away, and most people that play this game don't know about those two modes, or ignore them. So I wanted to just show you a little bit about them. Oh, the sun's out. The sun. I'm just gonna... There we go. Alright, so we're going to create a new gladiator today. And select the Dungeon Crawl, which means create a gladiator, then enter an endless dungeon fighting monsters, exploring tunnels for treasure. Permadeath. And of course, permadeath is a roguelike term, meaning you only get one chance. So, well, yeah, male wizard, that sounds good. Let's give him some crazy hair. What about that? No, that's not crazy enough. There we go, that's better. Looks a bit like Sideshow Bob. Now, in this version of the game, there's no story. It's literally you enter a dungeon and see how deep you can go. Of course, the full version of Swords and Sandals 5 has a 5-act story with many chapters and quests and so on. But I also wanted to add this little game mode in which you can just jump into essentially a dungeon crawl, a roguelike, if you will. Now, roguelike is a term that was used to describe a kind of game that was made popular many years ago called Rogue. And it's literally a randomized dungeon crawler, usually, where you have little adventures and you move from space to space like this. And this was one of the major inspirations for Swords and Sandals 5, was I wanted to build a dungeon crawl. And so Swords and Sandals 5 feels a little bit weird to you. It's because I originally had built it as a different kind of game and then threw the dungeon crawler in there from another game that I was hoping to build. So there we go, killed some rats. Rats, of course, are a staple of any dungeon game, as are evil bats. I can't stand bats. Let's use our spill. So in a roguelike, you tend to start off just with very basic stats and skills, and you get better as you go along. So we have with us 3 torches, a roast chicken, a healing potion, and a small essence potion. And our character has only a few things. He's got a dagger, he's got an oak staff that he's picked up. Oh, there's a wizard, so he gets those, so we'll use that. And noob shoulder guard, so he's very ill-equipped. But when we go down a level, we get to level up, which is a little bit different from regular Sword and Sandals. So we're going to add to our attack and our magic up. And of course, get ourselves a magic power. Let's get the old fireball. It's a powerful spell. So now we're going down and down and down through the dungeon. We'll pray at the shrine. No prayers answered. Good things about roguelikes is they are very unpredictable, and each game will be quite different in what you see. And this game is no exception. There are things that only appear in certain levels and only appear if you're good or evil. Smashed him. One of the, I think the original Rogue, the quest was actually 20 levels, and the aim was to get to the bottom of this 20 level dungeon and pick up an item called the Amulet of Yendar, or Yondar, and bring it back to the surface. And it was very challenging for many people. It took a lot of people hundreds and hundreds of attempts, or maybe even more, to get to that point that they could master the game. Now, roguelikes are very popular these days, and there is a roguelike, or a roguelite, if you will, is another term for the roguelike. Games like anything that has sort of randomized content, procedurally generated worlds and so on, that aren't necessarily dungeon crawl, but are using elements of a rogue kind of game. So it's quite a commonly heard term now. In the original Sword and Sandals 5, there was none of this dungeon crawl mode. You could go into dungeons, but it took quite a while. Ooh, we're close to death. We can't have that. We need our healing potion. This guy's tough. It's going to be close. Damn it. He's slamming us. What else have we got? Searing Blast. Ooh. Flee. Oh, it's still alive. And I originally made Sword and Sandals 5, and I had to cut out the dungeon part from the mobile version because it just didn't run on mobiles back then. So when I did the Redux version, I made sure that I could get all this running on a mobile phone. And as a consequence, one of the things I had to cut out was all the enemies moving around, because the pathfinding was just a bit too intensive for mobiles, unfortunately. I mean, just the way I programmed it was just a weird system. So every few levels, you can visit a shop, like Don Salad here, who works in the dungeons and sells things to people. Let's buy some healing potions, I think. Small. Oh, we can't afford a healing potion. Can we sell something, perhaps? Sell the dagger. Have we picked up anything? We can sell the roast chicken. That's worth something. Let's sell... Oh yeah, we can sell everything. Alright, sell it all.
Item sold.
And we want to pick up... So these are just items that you might find useful in a dungeon. Let's pick up that healing potion. I'm going to pick up some torches as well, because if it goes dark, it's all over. And what can we afford to eat? A couple of barn eggs. It's not very much. You can talk to this guy as well. He's a guy that doesn't appear in the main game, and he's just he appeared in the original Swords and Sandals 5 before I did the Redux, but I took him out because he was superfluous to it. He ran this thing called the Dungeon Mart, and I think it might still be called that. You can chat to him if you want, but I'm not going to bother doing that for now, because this is supposed to be a quick dungeon crawl. And the idea that I wanted was just for people to sort of compete against each other and say, yeah, how deep did you go? What level did you get to? Oh, we'll turn into a woman. There you go. How interesting. And we died. Well, we reached level 4. The level 3 wizard has been lost to the darkness. We reached level 4 of the dungeon, defeated 7 monsters. The toughest foe you defeated was a cave bat. Yeah, so the idea is that basically, yeah, how deep can you go? How many monsters do you kill? What level can you reach? And you can just, compete with your friends, because the main quest is very, it's a single player thing. And because I wanted this to feel a little bit more competitive, that's the mode that I added. There's unlimited levels in this. It gets very deep. You can get hundreds and hundreds of levels down, and I think there might even be some boss monsters and things. I can't remember. It's been about a year, and it's amazing what you forget. The other mode I wanted to show you today is, of course, the sprint mode, which I might have played in my other video, but let's play it again. And this is more of a like a Street Fighter version of the game, in that you get 1 life and you just go from battle to battle to battle until you die, and that's the end of it. Let's give him some funny hair. I'm ready.
We who are about to die salute you.
And this is much closer in spirit, hey, killed him, to the original Swords and Sandals game. Let's get the Mighty Smash. After every level, you can either grab a healing potion, upgrade a weapon, or upgrade your armor. We're going to upgrade our weapon for now. It's funny, I get a little kind of butterflies and a bit anxious when I played my own games on video because I'm not that great at them, even though I've played them a million times. And, you know, I worry about bugs and, you know, that kind of thing.
Slain.
He died. Reach Gladiator Sprint round 2. That's not good. We're going to do that again. We can do better. Yeah, I do worry that, you know, people think, oh, this guy's crap at these games. And I am, but, you know, it's my game. I should be better at it. Lashdravain, the Drakon Male Knight. Let's go with him. He's a knight. Knights are generally quite tough. Yeah, this is much closer in spirit to the original Swords and Sandals, where you only have one life. That, of course, had the shops and tournaments, but it was very much permadeath. Swords and Sandals 2 was the first game that brought in the save games and things. The Barbarian Storm. Let's get some armor, because we died last time. Shield and armor grade. It upgrades a random bit of armor for you. So now you see he's got a shield and little noob arm bands. And again, this is a competitive one. I wanted this to feel like, people said to me, oh, this game is too tough, but I wanted it to feel very challenging and designed for quick games. And, you know, if you get through, you know, 4 or 5 rounds of this, you're pretty good, if you know what I mean. That was the idea. Oh, we're alive. I think the next person to connect will win. There we go, we got him. Let's grab some attack. And another Mighty Smash point, I think. Upgrade our weapon. I can't remember, but I feel like every 10 rounds there might be a boss fight. But don't quote me on that. And I actually released a Facebook and a web version of this called Champion Sprint, which is not quite the same, but it's similar. And I'll put a link to that in the comments for this video if you're interested in checking it out. I didn't program it, but I designed it, and it's programmed by a colleague of mine at eGames called Fei Zhu, and she did a great job on it. Oh, he died. Lashdravain the Knight is eliminated from the sprint. Alas. One more go? One more go? One more go. You know, it's funny playing this game after a year. It's I'm glad to play it, but I get these sort of not only the anxiety butterflies, but just so many flashbacks to the late nights and weekends and things that I spent on this, and I'm glad I'm not working anymore, because I know it had a lot of bugs and so on, but it was a massive amount of work for me to build and of course rebuild for the Redux, and I'm glad it's done, you know what I mean? Games are hard to build for big teams and for indie developers, and for the million things that go right, people do notice the 1 or 2 things that go wrong, and sometimes you just can't fix them. Sometimes you just don't have the time. Well, it's all over. Look. Thou hast died. Yeah, and this Swords and Sandals 5 was a massive chunk of work for me, and because I built it once in 2012 and then rebuilt it, redesigned it in 2017, it felt like it went forever. If you haven't tried Swords and Sandals 5, you can get it on Steam and on iOS and Android as well on the app stores. And not everyone knows about this game. A lot of people, everyone knows Swords and Sandals 1 and 2 and maybe even 3, but 4 and 5 are less well known. 4, of course, never got a mobile treatment or a Steam treatment, but I'm hoping to remedy at least the Steam version of it at some point. But 5 is a version that has come and gone now and has been popular, but not hugely popular. You don't see that many videos and playthroughs of it. So if you're interested in Swords and Sandals and the experience and the world and the lore and things, I encourage you to try it. All right, that's it for now. Have an awesome weekend, and I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.